Hey, fans of the Monday Movie Club. Today, Joel picked The 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T from 1953, which is number 5,147 on the Franken list. Ever heard of it? No, we didn't either. I'm Frank Gaffney. Joel thinks he's Superman. Okay, whatever.
Think I know.
Mark quotes it's Gardner. Oh, no picture. I wonder why.
10 hands,
And
10
Goldfuck,
fingers.
no picture, but Cringer was just here a second ago.
Now he's right here.
Hmm.
Okay, he's there. And you can't tilt down the camera to see him. No.
No.
All right. And Annie King in the kitchen where she belongs. Why are we meeting early? Somebody going to lunch or something?
Mark is going to your uncle something.
Oh.
Danielle's dad, we're gonna visit him.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Joel, why the 5,000 fingers of Dr. T?
Why not? Is he going to say.
No,
I'm
I'm
looking forward to you.
now I'm not going to answer anything. I'm just
Right.
the wise ass. I'm just sit here.
You have to answer. You have to answer in rhyme like Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Fucking early in the morning for me to come up with that.
All right, Joel,
Yeah.
answer for your crimes.
Huh?
Answer for your crimes.
Answer for my crimes.
Where were you on the night of January 16th?
Why the 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T? Because it's a little-known movie by most of the public. The people who have seen it, it is a cult film for them. And it is the only live-action feature film that Dr. Seuss wrote directly for the screen. So it has some value in various ways in film history. So that's why.
Thank you, Joel. Here's the plot. A young boy dreams that he is in an imaginary world where, assisted by a very busy plumber, he must save other piano-playing kids like himself. Yes, the movie is.
I'm gonna stop reading shit off the internet. That is like the worst description of that film ever. But continue.
I type in the title and I excerpt the
And,
first.
and you grab whatever the AI tells you.
No, it's not even. No, I usually go to the first whatever.
Okay.
But I think it's funny.
Okay, I'm not saying.
Okay. Well, this movie is a Dr. Seuss book crossed with a German expressionist movie, and like Horton hears Dr. Caligari. That's what it is. Plot-wise, oh my God, it's a hot mess. But in 1953, America had a lot on its mind. There are talk about atomic anxiety, a little bit of legacy of the Holocaust, and of course, homophobia. And the villain and most of the henchmen are gay. Come on, totally gay. Finally, the G Shucks Kid's secondary plot is to get the family plumber to marry his mom. Just bizarre. Bizarre all around. And then they break into song, the plumber and the kid. And after their ballad, I thought the kid and the plumber were going to kiss. I really did. They were like,
Same.
I did not get that vibe. It
Oh
was
my
more of a
God.
oh
father.
my
It was a
gosh.
father and a son vibe.
Yeah,
Those close-ups,
They
and then
were
they
ready to go
at
in.
each other. All right. Observations while I'm
People are
watching.
sick.
Okay. Full disclosure, I have never been a Dr. Seuss fan. My mother didn't read books to me like all you touchy-feely parents. Ugh. And no, I don't know the torture of trying to learn the piano aim. Was it
Oh,
torture?
yeah. I don't want to practice. I just want to play. I want to be perfect.
Yeah. So
Even I took piano lessons. Yeah.
Yeah.
so I can't relate to that part of it either. And then Dr. T is that brilliant character actor, Hans Conried, Uncle Tadoose.
Love him.
And he was in that episode of I Love Lucy where he was teaching her French. Was he teaching her French?
Oh, is that him?
he's also
Robert
one of the few
Beach.
actors who play a recurring character on Gilligan's Island.
Oh, there you go.
He's in 2 episodes.
And I guess that's recurring.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the same character. He was a I forget the
Oh,
character.
2 episodes.
It was like Wrong Way somebody who was an airplane pilot that kept getting lost.
Okay. And
That's why I
then
know.
that fight between Dr. T and the plumber dance.
I have
fight.
notes on that one.
I was thinking of you, Mark.
How was the fight choreography there?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand how they were filming this movie and not thinking every single day, what the fuck is going on right now? Because I was thinking that. And then in the kids song, the lyric was like the adults boss and beat us kids about. Oh my. And the kid's voice actually sounded like a woman dubbed his
Yeah.
voice.
Nope, it was not a woman. It was one of the Lettermen.
Oh, it was an actual grown-up man.
Yes, it was an actual grown-up man who was part of the Lettermen a few years later.
And Letterman is a singing group, by the way, for you youngsters. Uh, and then his name is Bart. There comes your Simpsons connection. Did we talk about that last week?
I think off camera, but yes.
Yeah, Joel, right?
Yeah.
And this is Matt Groening's one of his favorite films too.
Well, it's not one of his favorite. He knows of it. He's talked about it a few times. But Bart comes from a few different places. It's really the Terwilliger that for Sideshow Bob's last name that comes out
Yeah,
of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember back when The Simpsons started, he said it was just a flip of the word brat. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
the real.
No,
statement.
he knew a kid named Bart when he was little and stuff like that. So,
Well,
and
this
also-
kid in this movie is named Bart as well.
Yeah, and there are a lot of intimations and suggestions that Mr. Burns's big "See My Vest" number was inspired by the dressing song in this movie. So,
Uh,
Oh.
okay. And then there's this ballet, and the choreography was completely gay. 4 out of 5 of those dancers were gay as well. And it was way too long, and I looked at the clock, and there was another 30 minutes to go. And I really feel like I needed some CBD gummies to enjoy this fully.
Very
It's
specific.
Yeah, it was just. And then we're saving the mom, who is, of course, in her beautiful gowns by Jean-Louis. Lovely gowns. And then the elevator operator opens the door, and it's like a S&M thing with the leather and the, oh, good Lord. And then when all the other kids arrive,
by the way, the letter was to distract you from the blackface. So,
oh,
Yeah,
that,
I saw that too.
then when all the other kids arrive, the adult henchmen take away all their possessions. And now I feel like I'm watching Schindler's List Jr.
Yeah.
They're going to take him to the shower next. Ridiculous. And then, of course, at the end, we get the boy as the matchmaker. All this 89 minutes just to pimp out his mother. Okay. This one is only 2 stars for me. Even at 89 minutes, it was a bit torturous. Sorry, Joel. And bizarre. How did this even get made? And they cut out 9 songs. It was more musical. Did anybody watch the cutout songs? I
I
did
couldn't
not.
do it.
I sent you one verse
One verse.
One
from
verse.
one song. That's all it was.
I was afraid.
I read that there were 9 cut songs, and this link
Yeah.
was to those. So I was like,
No,
nope.
all
I
that
was-
link was to the full version of the Dungeon song with the missing
Yeah.
verse. Because if you look at the numbers on the elevator outside, it goes 0 through 4, and then they only do first floor, second floor, basement. So there was a third verse for the third floor. That's all I sent you. I wasn't going to send you any other
Okay.
things. 'Cause
Oh, I
knew where
was.
this whole thing was headed the minute I put it on the list.
Danny picked
Well,
up on
thank
that
you for doing
elevator.
it.
Nice, Annie.
Yeah. And I dare not click on that link. I thought, oh my gosh.
I was right there with you, Frank.
I was not going to
Not
send you the
anymore.
other songs. You would have hated
But
them.
I
watched
watched
it.
it and I commented and I just mentioned the gas chambers.
Yeah.
I certainly would have
Yeah.
said 9 songs. I'm not listening to this.
Right.
All right, as long as you're chatting already, Aim. Was it fun?
It was a lot of fun.
It was better
I-
than that.
Better than Cats, better than E.T. I will say that I dreaded from day one reading this list. Wait, I'm trying to get into my phone. I dreaded it because I thought it was going to be one of Joel's crazy horror, science, science fiction, ridiculous, like
Black
the
and
movie,
white
was it
silent
Metropolis? Yeah.
I'm like
Um,
Metropolis. Okay.
I thought it was going to be something horrible like that, and I
I
was
think
also,
there's an influence here of that. For
Sure.
sure.
but nothing like
German
what I
expressionism
imagined.
runs through the
And-
film like a freight train.
Sure. It was last week when you said it was written by Dr. Seuss. I thought, okay, this is not the movie I thought it was. So I no longer, like I said, I no longer dreaded it.
Right.
It was very at the time, but before you said that, it was like, is it going to be like the Cabinet and Dr. Caligari, which Frank you funnily mentioned because that's exactly what I thought it was going to be. A few notes I actually did write was I love the line he said to the plumber early in his dreams. I know all you try for is time and a half overtime. Okay, it's not funny now, but that line was a big smile. And there were actually quite a few big smiles. There were some lines that I said, especially the metronome bit when he started just clicking. Right, Andy? I thought that was adorable that he did that. And I loved the plumber and his relationship. And I'm definitely thinking, at the time, I was thinking, oh, he's going to turn out to be his real father. But that wasn't the case. The dungeon orchestra, that whole overly long scene, but it was a lot of fun. I was like, okay, how are they gonna have these guys come out now? It was really a lot of homoerotic fun. I love
and
that.
very Susian.
Yeah, very.
It was a gay old time.
It was very much a gay old time. And that's all I was thinking about the actors, off camera. I love that Bart's version of scientific paraphernalia was about 50 pieces of crap loaded into his pockets, which when mixed with a gigantic bone turns into syrup. I just thought that was cute. Finally, I wrote, if Dr. Smith in Lost in Space and Bronson Pinchot had a baby, he would grow up to be Dr. Terwilliger. That's all I kept seeing was Bronson Pinchot and Lost in Space guy. And why do I know? I wrote, why do I know Hans Conried? But you guys pretty much said just character actor that we would have all seen back in the day. So yeah, I did not hate it at all, Joel. I'm gonna give it a pretty solid 2.25 stars. I wouldn't watch it again, but if it was on and somebody said we have to watch this, I would be like, all right, I'll watch it again. Pleasantly surprised.
Glimmers of hope. Glimmers of hope. Mark G.
Let's go to the phone. I will say while I'm calling this up that I do agree with Joel, though, despite our stars, which is not going to be high for me either. I appreciate you introducing us to different movies. I would never watch this. I would never have heard of it without you. And now I can say
it was definitely intriguing. It's like, oh, this is Dr.
I think what I think it's similar to you guys, or at least you, Frank. I didn't grow up with Dr. Seuss, and it also had vibes of Willy Wonka, and that was never my movie either. So there was no nostalgic, oh, I like this. This reminds me of my childhood. There's none of that. So watching as a 50-year-old, it was not the best. The 3-hour opening credits set a bad tone right away for me. But I did enjoy the kid breaking the fourth wall. I love it, and I thought that was fun. I was not expecting that. Just like you said, Frank, a few things you didn't expect, and the slow motion landing from jumping off the ladder, followed by slow motion jumping around, reminded me of the Bionic Man, which was part of my childhood. So I did appreciate that. I wanted the music in the background. I enjoyed some of the singing. I thought the dance fight between the plumber and Dr. T was horrible. Danielle, however, loved it and said, Joel, that should have been worked into Poseidon, so you had a missed opportunity there. Pulling the cigars, snacks, and drinks out of the wall and floor, I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, at this point, the music is getting better. But then it got to the dungeon musical part, and I'm back to hating this. I wrote the skating fight was fun, but the whole dungeon scene, I started looking at my phone. I'll be honest, I lost interest. And I wrote it here. Definitely some Willy Wonka vibes at times. Some parts were enjoyable and cute. Some were horrible. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. So it's 2.5 for me.
I was definitely, do I do 2.25, 2.5?
To me, it was 2.5. It was entertaining enough and enjoyable,
Yeah, Frank changed me to 2.5.
I think that's the right. And Joel, I will say, I think if you had unlimited funds, I feel like you would build a castle and you would build stairs to nowhere just because.
Well, yeah, but that's a Fiddler thing.
It's a Fiddler thing.
Fiddler on the Roof.
In the song, he says,
talks about a
staircase leading nowhere just for show.
Okay. Wow. Well, there you go. I learned something.
I can't believe, Amy, you did not know that.
I've only seen the show like 3 times.
That soundtrack is memorized.
Yeah.
Annie King, this might have been a fun one for you girls.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say they're grown up.
Yeah.
I said
yeah,
I
didn't hate it, but it was definitely long. I kept saying, how much more of this is there? What did I like?
And it was only 89 minutes.
I know. I was like, it can't be only 89 minutes. Um, all those songs, yeah. I like the dress with the one sleeve. I thought her dress was really cool looking.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
John Louis.
Yeah, the roller skating twins with the
Love them.
beards, hysterical. And it was right at the point where he was fighting them, and I said, he should have just bought scissors.
Yep.
And there was the shears right there in the plant. Yeah, I love most of the choreography. I liked it because there was a lot of dancing and my girls were dancers. So I did like the choreography when they were dancing and stuff. I love all the food and stuff coming out. And I actually like Dr. Seuss. Not that my parents read to me, but being a teacher, I've read a lot of Dr. Seuss. So it was a lot of fun. And the other thing I wrote was the metronome key and how he was going to do it. And that was great.
Yeah.
And everything coming out of his pocket was just fabulous, right? Other than that, it was, and then that whole scene where it explodes in the end and the kids are running the other way, like not here. Like, I'm like, where are they going? They're gonna
I
get
was cracking up at how everyone was, is it atomic? Like that was, I guess, like you said, that was a topic of the time. It was just silly.
Yes, and I actually was looking forward to hearing all of them play something, and they never
Yeah.
did. Yeah, so I was like, that's such a great piano. I can't wait to hear them all play it. It was very cool. That must have been a great set. But he wasn't really playing the piano, was he?
No.
No, okay.
I definitely thought if this were an animated movie, then maybe it would have been more fun than seeing it live action.
See, for me, the live action ridiculousness worked. It was not Paddington Bear at all because it was a dream and it was a kid's dream.
Right.
So you could do whatever the
Right.
fuck you want.
Right.
Well,
Big gas
maybe
bear.
if the dream part was animated, it would have been more fun.
Oh.
Right.
And you had both in it. But anyway,
Right.
2.5 for me. I didn't hate it. There's no reason to watch it again, though.
Well, Joel, was this one from your childhood? No?
No, see, that's
Yeah.
that's the funny part. I did not see this until I was in college because it really wasn't
Right.
available. It was rarely shown on television in
Right.
the 60s and 70s and 80s. It didn't come out on home video in this country until like 1990. So I did not see it until I was in college.
Was it something that you were assigned to watch?
No, I wasn't assigned to watch it at all. It was one of those things where when it came out, I read about it and I was like, this sounds really interesting. And over the years, I've watched it a number of times. I find new things in it every time I watch it. I find it very interesting. Some of the songs I find fun and catchy. Some of them are a little bit, too what's the word I'm looking for?
To 1950s.
1950s, yeah. But the fact that the studio meddled in it at that
They
time.
did what to it? They did what?
They meddled it.
Oh, meddled.
They, the first preview.
But wasn't it, so Joel, wasn't it Stanley Kramer was the leading force?
Stanley Kramer knew Theodore Geisel, Dr. Seuss, from the war because they had been together in
right.
So
he was the lead proponent. He was a pretty big macher in the day.
Yes, and but only as a producer. He hadn't started directing yet, and he actually wanted to direct this, but Harry Cohen, who ran Columbia, was like, "No, you're not directing this movie. You can produce it, and that's the end of that."
And he's like, "Here's $5. Go make your movie."
Yeah, basically, as Harry Cohen did to everything at Columbia at the time.
Right.
Columbia's, at that time, MGM was the musical factory. Yes, Columbia did musicals, but they were never, anything like, what came out of MGM. Seuss is coming off of an Oscar-winning animated short, Gerald McBoing Boing. And while we think of Dr. Seuss in a specific way right now. Back then, he was not quite the force that he was known for that he
Yeah.
is now. I mean, he was.
Yeah, but the funny thing was when there was lettering, I was like, okay, that's Dr. Seuss
Oh
lettering right
yeah.
there.
Well, his aesthetic runs throughout every bit of the film.
Right.
The sets, the
Right.
costumes, everything. Um,
But the German expressionist thing was a
well,
little
no, I
in a
think
dream.
it's in a dream, but it also comes through in his stuff.
That's right. A dream.
He's doing, he was coming off of all of his political cartoons during World War II, which, in fact, at one point did feature two men with a connected beard. Um, so,
And that was supposed to be two countries?
yeah, it was the United States and Nazi Germany. If you
Oh,
back
okay.
in this
They were
original
connected.
cartoon, they were.
Oh, nice.
Um, so,
They did look a little Jewish, I must say.
well, once you get the beards past a certain point, everything
Yeah.
was Jewish.
It's Jewish.
Um, he, but Kramer did the best he could. He got I think the biggest problem for me is the director he's very workmanlike. It's not like he's not like an Alfred Hitchcock or a Steven Spielberg or anybody who could put their stamp on the movie.
Right.
Stamp that's on the movie, if there is one, is already Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, and I think that was the stamp he was allowing to be the stamp.
Who was allowing to be the stamp?
The director. He's like, oh, this is his vision.
I don't know that he allowed it to be the stamp. I think by not kind of imprinting at least his own version of it on it, it becomes problematic in the pacing. It becomes problematic in some of the look of the film. The first audience they previewed it for, I forget, I think it was Stanley Kramer was telling the story that, people started walking out after 15 minutes. And by the time the movie was over, the one kid left in the audience was only there because he was waiting for his mother to pick him up. So it's an oddball film because it's a kid's movie, but it's not a kid's movie,
Right.
and it's.
But I mean, a lot of Dr. Seuss's books are commentary on society and
Exactly.
everything.
And most of those actually came after this film. It's in 4 years you get both The Cat in the Hat and the Grinch That Stole Christmas.
No, even before this movie.
No, I know that. Yes, but what I'm saying is that the books that he wrote before this, yes, they had the political commentary and the social commentary, but they're not as well known as what came after this movie. Most people think of Dr. Seuss, and the first thing they jump to is The Cat in the Hat or The Grinch. We're still 4 years out from those.
Not Green Eggs and Ham? Sam I Ham?
Green Eggs and Ham is I believe is after this as
I
well.
mean, and that was after they said, "Hey, you're so good at this run. Can you teach kids to read?"
Yeah, exactly.
That's when he wrote all those, The Cat in the Hat and Hop
Yeah,
on
I mean,
Hop
Green
books.
Eggs and Ham was a bet basically.
Funny.
But and Stanley Kramer obviously hadn't directed anything yet, and the films he had done before this had mostly been flops anyway. His next film that he produced is The Wild One with Marlon Brando, which came out in the same year. Obviously that kind of pushed him more in the directing. He was able to direct after that, and you wind up with a number of wonderful films, and then of course the cult classic "It's a Mad, 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 Mad World." But
why is that not on the list?
I'm going to make you guys sit through. I'm going to make Mark sit through a 3-hour comedy.
No, please don't.
Exactly. So maybe someday, but not next year.
So Joel, is there a version of it with all the songs back in it?
So
I read that there wasn't.
There is and there isn't. It's interesting that we do have the soundtrack for everything that was cut, but the picture is nobody knows where it is, if it still exists. The interesting story, and this is on the DVD, there's a couple of interviews with Michael Feinstein, the famous singer-pianist. And he talks about, he saw this film when he was a kid. And he thought it was weird and wonderful and bizarre. And he actually wound up trying, yes, I know he's gay. He wound up learning that there had been songs cut from the film and wanted to know more about them. and he was actually able to get into the Columbia, because it's Columbia Pictures, their music library. And when he was talking to the librarian about it, it turned out that she was given an edict from her bosses because they needed storage space to get rid of anything that they didn't need or was terrible. And he's watching her throwing out and burning scores, not just like the actual, recordings, but the sheet music as well of famous film scores, because her guide was the Leonard Maltin book. And if it had 2 stars or less, that's what she used.
I like it.
And
I'm going to do that as well. 2
Yeah.
stars or less, I'm getting rid of it.
Leonard Maltin found out about that later and was horrified that they were using his
Yeah.
book to destroy.
Because he led that Holocaust.
Yeah. So, but over a 30-year period, Michael Feinstein tracked down almost
Wow.
every little piece of music that had been cut from the film. And
I can't believe, Joel, there's somebody in this world more obsessive than you.
well, there's a lot of people more obsessive than me. You just don't look hard enough.
That's just crazy.
I'm your obsessive. So, so this is
Oh my.
it's a 3 CD set of every piece of music recorded for the film.
Right.
It's he was Michael Feinstein was involved in it. The missing songs, they're fun. They're not any better or worse than what's actually in the film.
But do they propel the plot?
They do, because the plot was a little different.
Oh,
In starting, there's a couple of subplots that are missing. This bearded twins come out of nowhere. But if you actually look very closely in the beginning of the film, when Bart's playing the piano with Dr. Terwilliger in his home, there is a photo of 2 men with beards up on the piano. Those are his uncles. And Bart was told that he needed to be like his uncles and learn to play the piano. And
That's
so in his dream version of things, his uncles are the security guards at the Institute. And they had a whole song that was filmed and cut from the movie, because it went. It's interesting stuff.
but I could also see how. I mean, we're commenting on it, but at the same point, we're talking about 1953. This was very odd for 1953.
Oh yes, 1953 was not ready for this movie.
Yeah, and it's even though it gets wrapped up in that neat little bow at the end.
Well, it's funny. The end, if I've read the original script, and there are a number of cuts and changes. The biggest change, though, is the opening of the film. It does not open with that weird ballet on the mounds with the butterfly nets and everything. That's actually a scene in his dream later in the film. In fact, the big dungeon ballet came earlier in the film, and that other ballet came around where that came. And the whole opening of the film was reshot. Dr. Terwilliger does not appear in Bart's living room in the original version of the movie. He only appears in the dream stuff. And
you definitely need him there in real life for him to dream about.
Yeah, I would think so.
The original version had his books are there, so you see what he looks like, and he actually winds up, Bart falls asleep and Dr. Terwilliger pulls him into the book. So, is it more interesting? I don't know. You'd have to actually see what the footage looked like and how it ran. But
Right. Joel, I think you need to re-edit it.
yeah, well, there's nothing to re-edit. The footage doesn't exist. So
You could put it all in the right order. Just play the songs where they're supposed to be.
that's what this is.
All right, Joel, what is your final thoughts and rating?
My final thoughts is
5,000 Fingers of Dr. T, which is an incorrect title because there are not 5,000 fingers in this movie.
Correct. There are not 500 boys playing that piano. There's
No.
I've read numbers between
150.
150 and 400. So
Right. So it's actually the 1,500 Fingers of Dr. T.
right. So
And I did comment yesterday that I only needed one.
yes, this one.
Yes. It's a great response. Yeah.
To me, this is a 3-star movie. I've seen it before. I'll watch it again at some point. I enjoy it because it is such a bizarre, odd piece of cinematic history.
And I get that, Joel, absolutely, because you discovered it when it was just coming around and it found a place for
Yeah.
you.
It's
Yes.
I think Mark, or I think it was Mark who brought up, or maybe one of you others brought up Willy Wonka at first.
Yeah,
I
me.
grew up watching Willy Wonka, and that is a
Yeah,
dark
not for
and
me either.
bizarre film.
And
And
that makes sense that this would kind of talk to you,
Yeah.
the
yeah,
child in you. Yeah, sure.
Right.
as a child, I loved stuff like that. I loved stuff that was creepy and scared the crap out of me. And I think had I been alive in 1953 and actually seen this in the theaters, I probably would have had a similar reaction. It
You would
is,
have been crying, Mommy,
yeah, pretty
Mommy.
much. Yeah. Don't make me play more piano. But just it to me, it's a fun film, and I love the fact that for you look at the film physically looking at it, the sets are these big giant sets, and yet there's only really four characters in the movie, that we're dealing with, and these
Well, and the Oompa Loompas.
well, yeah, but even them, they tend to run in packs of six most of the time until they're needed for like a giant number. The fact that Mr. Zabludowski and Mrs. Collins were actually married. They were a married couple in real life who had worked together for decades, and they were married up until the time he passed away in 1998. I think they were married for like 58 years.
Wow.
Nice.
Wowie.
Did they meet on this movie?
No, they were married well before. They were a vaudeville act for years that
Oh,
were
right.
kind of well known. His Peter Hayes's mother was her name was Grace Hayes, and she was more known than they were in that theater circuit in California at the time.
They were both very good. I did like them both. Yeah.
And I love Hans Conried. I mean, he's just an amazing character actor, and I think he was the most affected by the film not doing well because he was like, I think he was almost looking at it as like, this is the one that I'm going to be remembered
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
you
This
know.
is my this is my
And
chance.
even if he's not remembered for it, he is amazing in it. They had that dressing song was pieced together from multiple takes of that song because of how difficult it was to get it all out, and I find that just fascinating. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, Tommy Rettig, who played Bart, after this, he got the job on Lassie. So he was on Lassie for 4 years, but they were
Yeah.
always casting him younger than he actually was. So, he was still playing a 12-year-old when he was 16 on Lassie. And his career he did a few things after this. It eventually fizzled out, and he unfortunately passed away at the age of, I think, 54 or so.
Yeah, I read that.
Um,
But didn't they say he became he wrote code for
yeah, he was a
computer code,
he became a computer programmer.
but like a very good one.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Let's call him the Nerd Supreme.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well,
One
okay.
more thing, and Danny did mention those kids had a lot of weapons back in the day with
Yeah.
the slingshots and the
Slingshots
guns.
and yeah.
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 Kids would go out shooting shotguns with their dads in the country back then. I mean, it was no big deal.
And that's one of the things I find funny when they recut the film and they cut out that third verse in the Dungeon song where they mention gas chambers specifically because they didn't want to offend people. They thought they'd be too offended because we're only a few years out from the end of the World War II.
Sure.
That we still have this, as Frank put it, this Schindler's List of these kids being bussed in and
Yeah.
their belongings.
Taking all their belongings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So why leave that in if we're still
Yeah.
there? But
Yeah.
anyway.
All right. Well, that's the 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T is not available on our usual subscription-based streaming services, so you'd have to rent it. Next week, Amy picked Zootopia from 2016, and interestingly, well, it's on Disney Plus. I scheduled it beautifully because in 3 weeks,
Yes.
Zootopia 2 is going to debut. So that's
And you can
pretty-
watch the preview on Disney Plus. It's a 5-minute preview of it, and it's good.
Oh yeah.
And this is a Disney movie as well, not a Pixar.
Not a Pixar movie.
Yes.
All right, that's it for us. I'm Frank Gaffney. Go watch a movie.
And also with you.